Hey Impactors, it's Adam. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about online coaching, personal development, leadership, and how to build a business online. So all the stuff that happens with that, marketing, branding, messaging, copywriting, all that stuff. And we're talking about something that's really, really near and dear to my heart today, and that is meditation. I've been meditating for about 15 years, pretty much every day, really, in some fashion or another. And it's really brought a huge amount to not only my life, but my business as well. And I use several different styles of meditation based on what I feel like I need in my personal life or my business. And we're going to go over some of those things today. So maybe you can add those to your routine or life, or maybe you're just kind of interested in meditation. You haven't really started yet. We'll go through all of that stuff in that video today. And we're sitting here today in front of my little shrine. I have some Buddhas up there. I got a bell up there. I have another bell right there. And it's significant because I've set this space up. It's actually just right out of my office. My desk is right over there. And it's a place where, like, this is where I meditate. I have a set place for it. It's normally quiet. I normally either do it in the morning or when nobody else is home. And that's what it's used for. I don't use it really for anything else. It is part of my office, but this specific space, I have my own little cushion here, and I use it directly for meditating. So if you're really wanting to get into meditation, obviously you can do it anywhere, but it's good to have a very specific spot to actually have that practice, because then it becomes more of a routine. And then when you get into that space, it's a little bit easier to continue. So before we get started, I wanted to say thank you for joining me. Also, if you haven't subscribed, do the subscription thing. If you want to get notified when some of these videos come up, hit the bell, and obviously do the whole liking, subscribing, sharing if you like it type thing. And that would really help me out, and I would very, very much appreciate it. I do want to preface this with a little warning. I don't know the specific terms that are used for these meditations, where they came from, the background, any of that stuff. I try to simplify and do things that are just completely practical to me. So for me to dive down the rabbit hole of all of this learning about what this meditation is about and what it's called and what its background is and all that stuff is kind of not worth it to me. I would rather just take that time and actually do the meditations rather than learning a crazy amount about it. I learned mostly about how to do meditations and all that stuff just from doing it and trying different things and looking up little tutorials online and then doing it. So hopefully I'll be able to bring all of those into one video for you today, and you can try several different kinds of meditation. And I'm also going to go over with each style what I use it for within my business. Just some basic housekeeping. How you meditate doesn't necessarily really matter. Like what I'm talking about, like what position, whether you're sitting, standing, laying down, in a chair, anything like that. I suggest that you do it sitting down on some sort of cushion, or on a chair where you can sit straight up and you can kind of find your balance. If you're laying down on the ground, chances are you may fall asleep. If you're standing or walking or any of that stuff, you might not get the full effects of the meditation, but it can be done. And there's actually one type of meditation that I do that is an actual movement meditation. But sit in one spot, try not to move, try not to fidget, try not to do any of that stuff. And that's really the basics. It doesn't really matter where you do it. I like to do it with an app called Insight Timer. I'll put a link in the description below for that. It's got guided meditation. It has a timer on it that you can set. It has a huge community. It's got like 50-some thousand meditations and guided meditations, so you can do morning ones and night ones and all that stuff. So it all just kind of depends on what you want to do, but Insight Timer for me is like the one-stop shop of being able to have all of that stuff together. Now the first style, and most used for me style is something I call the focus and discipline meditation style. And it's probably the most talked about. And it's the one that I need the most, and one I think people in general need the most in this time, right? We have social media, we have TV, we have everything taking our attention away from us. And basically what all those things do is they hurt our ability to focus on the work that we need to get done on a daily basis to actually move our business forward. So the idea here for me is I have to be on social media for work. I have to be on watching videos and learning things, but to be able to focus in on those things that I have to do for a specific period of time, then snap myself out of it, go do whatever else I have to do, come back without mindlessly scrolling or watching crazy videos that don't matter or any of that stuff. This is what I attribute a lot of that focus to. And I think this is really, really important for any entrepreneur or business owner to actually put into practice. This meditation is simple, but also very, very shockingly difficult. Really, it has to do with just a few elements. Eyes closed, sitting on your mat, and when you breathe, you're going to breathe in and out of your nose, and you're just going to focus on the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. So, and that's really it. And in terms of like when your mind wanders and everything, you want to try and refocus yourself as fast as possible to the breath coming in and out of your nose. This is not supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be very, very, very difficult and very boring. And that's the whole idea, is that if you can condition yourself to do something difficult, boring, that has to do with focus, if you even have a tiny bit of joy doing something mundane in your business, you'll be able to get it and lock into it and get it finished without having any trouble. So really, it's really, really easy. You just sit there, close your eyes, breathe in the nose, breathe out the nose, and you can feel the breath going in and out of your nostrils. If it's easier for you to count 1, 2, based on the breaths, you can do that. And when you're first starting, you're probably going to want to do that. Just do 1, inhale, 2, 1, 2, and that gives you just another thing to lock into to help you keep focused on that breath itself. So this is what I use most of the time when I meditate, because focus is absolutely paramount in building your business. And I just think that it's one of the best uses of 10 to 30 minutes that you can have in the morning or in the middle of the day. The second style that I use, I like to call the blender. And it's called the blender because you really don't do anything besides sit there with your eyes closed. It's by far the easiest form of meditation, and some people wouldn't even really necessarily call it meditation, but to me, it's a solitude time that we don't often get nowadays. So if you ever thought about it, years and years ago, when there was no TV and no Netflix to binge and all of that stuff, you had some time, your brain had some time to kind of filter all of your thoughts in and out that you had throughout the day and kind of clean itself, right? Whether that's journaling or whatever. Now, if we're at a doctor's office or at the supermarket or at a red light or anywhere, we can whip out our phones and we're scrolling through Instagram. So I found that this is really, really important and essential to actually unpacking all the things that are in your brain. So really, you just sit there with your eyes closed, and I'll sometimes have a notebook out just so that I can write down any to-do items that come up when I'm focusing on that. And you just sit there and breathe. Just breathe normally. Don't try to think about one specific thing or not think about one specific thing. I'll sit there for 20, 30 minutes and just let my brain go through all the crevices and cracks that are within my mind of different things that I need to get done, different things that I'm happy with, sad with, this. And if specific things come up, write them down. Just open your eyes up and write them down. This is the least strenuous and least rigid of any of the meditation tactics. And for me, I probably do this like once or twice a month, and I'll sit for like 20 or 30 minutes and just do it because my brain is full of stuff, and I can't ever really get those things out by doing the focus meditations because I'm not thinking about those things. So I don't get to unpack and have that kind of creative time. So this is the time I set and dedicate myself to that. Now, the third style is what I call quantum meditation. And that's the closest I can think of, like the closest comparison I can think of. And it's basically the stuff that Joe Dispenza teaches. So I don't know if you don't know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is. He's a meditation teacher and he's an author, and he has courses and does seminars about like quantum mechanics and the quantum field and how that relates to the things that we can do in our lives, the visions we can have, the goals and things that we can achieve, even down to like regrowing hair. Or his story was he broke his back and he basically reconfigured the bones in his back based on these meditations to kind of fix that spinal injury. So it's pretty deep stuff, and it would take me forever to kind of explain it, and I would babble through it and probably tell you all the wrong things about everything. But it is a form of meditation that I've used based on his books, which I can put a link to his books in the descriptions, and his guided meditations. So the basis of this is that you are meditating and getting to a point where you are kind of outside of your body and you are pure consciousness. And within that pure consciousness, you can pick and choose and move things around how you want to move them around into your life. And then when you come out of the meditation, you get to pick a different timeline and or realm that you are in. So basically, in the quantum, you can do whatever the fuck you want and come out of it not all scrambled up and all that stuff. And the idea is that everything is in your mind and that it's all connected, and that every scenario that's happening in your life is happening in an infinite number of ways, in an infinite number of, I guess, universes or time frames or timelines. And you can go into the quantum field, extract what you want to extract, and then bring that into your life. That's a lot of weird and craziness, but it is fun. It's kind of fun thinking like, hey, I can do whatever I want and I can change whatever I want in my life. I don't do these meditations often. They are normally about 60 to 75 minutes. And so I know there's a lot of people that do them daily, which I'm proud of them for being able to get an hour into the day for that. And that's probably really, really helping them, but I don't do them often. This is also the meditation that I've had the strangest experience with. And by strange experience, I mean, one of the meditations that I had and that I was doing is like, I ended up like flying through, and if you've ever seen Star Wars or any show where they go to like light speed, it was basically like flying around there. And I had this feeling that I was like in my own brain, which I know this sounds really, really wacky, but I had this feeling that I was in my own brain. I was basically exploring all my old thoughts and old beliefs and everything like that. And then the meditation stopped. So I came out of it, and it was this very, very strange feeling because that's the only time that's ever happened before. And in that same meditation, I felt like I was constricting and expanding like over and over and over and over and over again, like I was like a boombox or something like that. It was really, really strange. It's only happened once. I've probably done the meditation probably 50 to 75 times, and it's only happened the one time. So in his books and stuff, they say you're not supposed to chase that feeling, because when you chase it, it becomes real and then doesn't allow you to kind of get back to that point again. But you could use this meditation by doing like visualizations of, and like deeper visualizations of what you want your business life and like freedoms and all that stuff to look like within your business and your life right now. So I'm going to put all of his information down below so that you can check his stuff out at your leisure, because I don't really know that much about it or how it all works, except for that I had some cool experiences and that I always really feel really fucking good when I get up from his meditations. It's just normally too long for me to actually integrate into my schedule on a daily basis. All right, style number 4 is just general visualization. So I think this is really important just for business owners anyway, to have your vision set out. If you don't have a vision of what you want your business and life to go, you're never really going to have an indication if you're getting better or getting towards it or any of that stuff. So for me, this is pretty much the same as the focus meditation, but instead of focusing on the breath, I'm focusing on a vision of how I want either this week to go and the emotions that come along with that. So it would be, say I have like a speech on Monday. I would do some visualization work on Wednesday and Friday about how well that speech went, the roaring crowd, me walking out on stage, really get into what that feels like and is like to prepare myself. And this is like those mental reps. So it's really hard sometimes to like mental rep a coaching session or anything like that, but you can do it. You can mental rep with like somebody asking you a certain question, and then you would just sit there and meditate on whatever that question is and how you would respond to that within a coaching environment, or how you would, I mean, you can visualize sitting down and writing copy for like 2 hours and how excited and awesome it is to have all your content done for the week or for the month. And it's all about those mental reps. You can only write so much copy, but in your brain, you can write as much copy as you want or have that feeling of writing as much copy as you want. And that really helps you get a lot more comfortable and not feel so much of an imposter if you get that kind of imposter syndrome. This is one way to easily kind of eradicate that from your brain. The next one and 5th style is breath work. And I'm not going to go too crazy into this because there's all sorts of different kinds of breath work. The only one that I've really ever used is the Wim Hof method, and I use that probably once or twice a week. Nothing extensive. I always feel really good after it. And the basics of any breathing techniques are manipulating how you would normally breathe on a day-to-day to get in touch with your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So it's really like regulating how you react to things and how oxidated, I think that's the word, oxidated your body is. And whenever I do Wim Hof, I feel really good. It sucks while doing it. I don't know why. I just hate the actual doing process of the Wim Hof method. I don't understand why some people love it, but I just hate it for some reason. It just feels so weird and awkward, but that's why we do things, to be uncomfortable. And that's really what like a lot of this stuff comes down to for me, is being uncomfortable. And I feel so good after it. That uncomfortable feeling doesn't really last that long. So basically the idea of this is you take a rolling deep breath in, and so like in through your stomach, in through your chest, and you sigh it out. So, and you do that 30 times, and then at the 30th breath, you breathe all the way out and you hold it. So, You hold it for as long as you can. You're going to feel all tingly. You may get a little bit lightheaded. I always do this one lying down because I don't want to fall forward on anything or backwards on anything. So I'm always laying down on this. I also get really cold feeling, so I always have a blanket over me when I do this as well. But you do like 3 or 4 rounds of that, and it's actually shocking. And you can tell that it's working the very first round, because you'll be able to hold your breath with all your breath out for like 1.5 minutes plus. And for me, I know that's that's not how, if I just held my breath right now, that wouldn't happen. So you can feel that it's working or tell that it's working right away, and that's really, really cool. And basically it's just like pumping your body full of oxygen so that it can like reduce inflammation and all of that stuff. So if you haven't tried it, you can just Google Wim Hof method. There's 40,000 million videos on it. And if you're interested, definitely try it. It's really, really easy to do. It takes right around the same amount of time that a normal 15 to 20 minute meditation would. You could couple it with your other meditations if you want to. You can do 1 round of it rather than 3 or 4. All of this stuff is kind of up to you, but it's pretty powerful, even though it sucks while you're actually doing it. The last one that I'm going to talk about in this video is actually not really a full form of meditation, but it's something that my friend Charlie Engel, who is an ultramarathon runner, talks about, and that's he never talks about meditating, but he talks about that running is his meditation. And as I'm running more and longer distances, I'm starting to realize that the second method that I talked about, the blender method, is really helpful to try and do when you are running, and you're actually almost forced into it when you're running. You get into some deep, dark crevices of your mind when you're running and trying to push through things, and running forces you into that situation. There's no way you can get out of it when you're trying to run long distances. This is why I like endurance stuff a little bit more than weightlifting for like discipline and focus work, because you have, like, if you run 4 miles out, you either have to walk or run 4 miles back, or I guess you could like order an Uber or something like that if you really wanted to like get really down on yourself. I know if I ran out and ordered an Uber and I wasn't hurt or something like that, I would be super pissed off at myself. But getting into those distances, even really with like 3 miles, you are unpacking some, like, sometimes it's like I want to quit so bad when I'm running, but I have to dive deeper and deeper into my mind to bring out that strength to keep going. And for me, that's like a really, really powerful part of meditation. And that's really, really easy to do. You know why? Because you throw on some shoes, you put on some tunes, and you just start running. You don't have to, and like your mind and body will start to do that stuff for you. You don't have to focus on anything. You will just start to dive into your brain, and how much you have to disassociate from the thoughts that are happening saying, quit, don't quit, stop running, and your body screaming at you, and your will to just say, you know what, screw you, I'm going, and I'm going to keep going. So get some running in as well. So those are the different ways that I use meditation, a little bit of an explainer on how to do them. Also, the reasons why I do those meditations for my entrepreneurial personal development journey. I would love nothing more than for you to comment below what you took out of this video. Also, if you haven't, subscribe, hit the bell, message me, do any of that stuff. I would love to chat with you about meditation, about coaching, about personal development, leadership, any of that stuff. And until next time, I hope you have a great day, and thanks so much.